Outfront exclusive. K-File uncovering even more video of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying that the United States military should not follow unlawful orders. A few weeks ago, that wouldn't have been a newsworthy thing to say, but now for obvious reasons it is. And this time, Hegseth is taking direct aim at President Trump specifically. This was during the 2016 campaign. Hegseth questioning Trump's toughness and questioning whether Trump would even have the United States military's back.
It's typical Trump. All bluster, very little substance. He talks a tough game, but then when pressed on it, he's an armchair tough guy. I hate to say it, but this is a guy who said that John McCain is not a war hero, yet he sought his own 5 military deferments because he says big, blustery things that people want to hear, but he goes way too far. And then when the military says, we won't follow illegal orders like torture or killing families, which is not loosening the rules of engagement, he suddenly realizes, wait, I might actually be commander-in-chief.
It's pretty incredible, right? I mean, because that same Pete Hegseth tonight is accusing 6 Democratic members of Congress for betraying their country for warning troops not to obey unlawful orders. That includes Senator Mark Kelly. Hegseth, of course, has threatened to court-martial Kelly over that video. Out front now is K-File's Andrew Kaczynski. And Andrew, it is a remarkable video. I mean, especially in the context of just all the things that we are hearing and seeing Pete Hegseth say. To imagine that one person could have been just diametrically different things is really some real cognitive dissonance there. What is the context for that video?
Yeah, and well, you also nailed it in your intro saying like this wouldn't have been a big deal like a few weeks ago until this happened. But to understand this video, you do have to go back to 2016. Donald Trump was making a series of very controversial national security promises when running for president that include killing the families of terrorists, expanding the use of torture. Listen to how he responded to a question at a GOP debate on just that.
Experts have said that when you ask the U.S. military to carry out some of your campaign promises, specifically targeting terrorist families and also the use of interrogation methods more extreme than waterboarding, the military will refuse because they've been trained to turn down and refuse illegal orders. So what would you do as commander-in-chief if the U.S. military refused to carry out those orders?
They won't refuse. They're not going to refuse me, believe me. I'm a leader. I'm a leader. I've always been a leader. I've never had any problem leading people. If I say do it, they're going to do it. That's what leadership is all about.
Now, Hegseth and his other colleagues at Fox were harshly critical of Trump's comments, which he did end up walking back, by the way, saying you wouldn't tell the military to disobey unlawful orders. But listen to more of what Hegseth and them were saying about him.
Here's the problem with Trump. He says, go ahead and kill the families. Go ahead and torture. Go ahead and go further than waterboarding. What happens when people follow those orders or don't follow them? It's not clear that Donald Trump will have their back. Donald Trump is oftentimes about Donald Trump. And so if you're not changing the law and you're just saying it, you create even more ambiguity.
Now, Hegseth repeated similar comments multiple times, repeatedly saying that troops would refuse illegal orders. He singled out Trump, warning that he could even put service members in legal jeopardy and create issues if troops didn't follow those orders. And that key quote above there is he said Trump might not have the military's back when that happened. Take a listen to all the other times we found of him saying that.
I got some response from vets on that saying you're not just going to follow that order if it's unlawful.
The military's not even going to follow his orders.
The military's not going to follow illegal orders. And so the Trump campaign was forced to change their position and say, we're going to try to change the law so that the military can operate within the law. That's a tall order also.
And again, Aaron, this all comes back to those Trump comments about members of Congress and to Hegseth's own comments, because in essence, this is exactly what Democratic members said. It's the core idea is the same, that service members cannot carry out unlawful orders.
It's just really amazing. I mean, the nuance of what he said there to Maria, that the military is not going to follow illegal orders. So the campaign was forced to say, well, we're going to try to change the law then. I mean, just when you put that in context of what's happening now with these boat strikes, it's really stunning. I know you've reached out to the White House and to the Pentagon for responses on all of this very deep reservoir of Pete Hegseth commentary. What did they say?
So we did not hear back this time from the Pentagon. We did hear back from the White House. This is what they told us. As he said last week, the military already has clear procedures for handling unlawful orders, but sedacious Democrats injected ambiguity and failed to provide a single example because all of President Trump's actions have been lawful. Instead, these lawmakers sow doubt in a clear chain of command, which is reckless, dangerous, and deeply irresponsible for an elected official. Aaron, so it's going to be interesting. We've seen Hegseth. There was a story about Pam Bondi today as well, who also said the military can't follow illegal orders. So it'll be interesting to see where all this goes.
Well, it certainly will. And of course, in the context of what's lawful and what isn't lawful is obviously a matter of heated debate. Many, obviously, in the conservative sphere, George Will and others would beg to differ with her analysis. Thank you very much. K-File, and Hegseth is now calling for an inquiry into what he's calling the seditious six. That includes Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander and Senator Mark Kelly, after they posted this video reminding American troops of what Hegseth was talking about, which is that they are duty-bound to refuse unlawful orders. Out front now, Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire. She's a member of the House Armed Services Committee as well, and also a former intelligence officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve. So I really appreciate your time. Congresswoman, let's just start here with Andrew Kaczynski's incredible reporting here. What's your response tonight to what you just heard there from Pete Hegseth?
Well, I have no earthly idea what has happened to this man who clearly understood this cornerstone principle of American law. And Aaron, I got to say, it's a simple statement of law that we made, and it's an important one to make in this moment. It's the same basic principle that we saw Secretary Hegseth repeat again and again before he took on this important role. It's the same basic principle that Attorney General Pam Bondi stated in a brief to the United States Supreme Court. It's the same principle that we heard Justice Samuel Alito repeat in an oral argument at the Supreme Court last year. This is an important and basic principle of law, and that our saying it unglued this president to such a degree, I think, really tells us a lot about how he thinks about the basic commitments, the basic commitment to the rule of law.
Congresswoman, I also want to ask you about the September 2nd strike, strikes, I should say, right? The follow-up strike that is at the center right now of the dispute, right? There were two strikes on the alleged drug boat. Trump today backtracked and said that he never actually said that the second strike video should be released. In fact, he now says, he'll let Pete Hegseth decide if that video comes out. Here's what he said today.
You said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike on September 2nd off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth now says...
You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
You said that you would have no problem releasing the full video. Okay, well, Secretary Hegseth...
Whatever Hegseth wants to do is okay with me.
He now says it's under review. Are you ordering the secretary to release that full video?
Whatever he decides is okay with me. You are an obnoxious, actually a terrible reporter.
Okay, so that's what he just said. Let's just play what he said a few days ago, 5 days ago, actually, Congresswoman, on this very same topic.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
So why do you think he about-faced so quickly and blatantly that 5 days separate those two statements?
Look, unfortunately, this is a president who has called the affordability crisis, the cost crisis that is touching the lives of people across my home state of New Hampshire, across our country. He's called this a con job. He said it's a hoax. So, look, this fits into a pattern of behavior that is completely unbecoming of the President of the United States. Why did he change his mind? Look, obviously they don't want the American people to see what is in this video. But I think it's incredibly important, as a member of the House Armed Services Committee, I think it's incredibly important that we have transparency and that we get to the bottom of the facts of what happened on September 2nd, because there are a lot of questions that have not yet been answered, and we will be relentless on a bipartisan basis in getting those answers. That's exactly what we've seen in the National Defense Authorization Act, which has a specific provision about getting this video released.